Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something kind of wild. We're looking at how poverty, like actual poverty, can be a business in America.
It's messed up, right?
Seriously. We're going to unpack excerpts from this book, Poverty for Profit by Ann Kim, and let me tell you, it's eye-opening.
It really makes you question, like, who's actually benefiting from all these programs and help that's supposed to exist?
Exactly. Okay, so one of the first things that struck me was how Kim talks about the physical landscape of poverty, how certain businesses, it's like they're strategically placed.
Yeah, she talks about that. Like, it's not random, you know?
Right.
She uses this example of District Heights, Maryland, where there's, like, a ton of dialysis centers right in the neighborhoods with crazy high rates of diabetes.
It's almost like it.
And then think about it, those tax preparation places.
Yeah.
Every corner, right. They just pop up in low-income areas, especially when tax season rolls around.
It feels predatory almost.
Well, yeah, because they're kind of banking on those government programs, the ones meant to help low-income people, like the Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC,
Yeah.
that tax break.
Right.
So they lure folks in, promising to help them get that money.
And then,
That's where it gets bad. They hit them with the refund anticipation loans. Sounds good, right? You're desperate, need cash.
sure.
But the fees, the interest rates, it's a trap.
So even something meant to help, like the EITC, becomes this way for these companies to profit.
Exactly. And it's not just that, right? It's the whole privatization thing. Remember when welfare programs got revamped?
You mean like outsourcing it all to private companies?
Yep. Back in the 90s, it was huge. The idea was businesses would do it better, cheaper, the whole efficiency argument.
Right.
But then what happened? Transparency, accountability, out the window. They care about profit, not people.
It's so frustrating. Kim mentions this company, Maximus. Their profits exploded after welfare reform in '96.
Yeah, I mean, it's a prime example.
It's like the system gets more complicated, harder to navigate, and suddenly you've got these companies profiting off that confusion.
It's true, and that complexity, it's part of the problem, Kim uses this example, Woodland Springs. It's this apartment complex where residents are dealing with crime, horrible living conditions, even though they're getting rental assistance,
That's awful. So what's the point of the assistance then?
right? If people are still living like that, something's not right. It's like, where's the accountability?
Okay, so we've got businesses potentially profiting off of people's taxes, their housing struggles, but it goes even further, right? Where else does this poverty for profit thing show up?
Well, let's talk about job training. Sounds good on paper, right? Get people the skills for better jobs.
Right.
But Kim asks this crucial question, who's really benefiting?
And we hear that all the time, right? Job training. But is it actually working?
Well, that's the thing. There's not a lot of transparency. Like, are these programs actually effective? Kim talks about this. Like, you go to these government websites looking for data, right? And it's just data suppressed.
Oh, wow.
It makes you wonder, right?
Like, where's the accountability? How much is actually going to help people versus just lining the pockets of whoever's running these programs?
Exactly. And she dives into this one specific program, the Job Corps. It's residential, it's supposed to get young people ready, life skills, job skills, the whole thing.
Okay.
But then she brings up this woman, Julia Shannon. She went through the program, graduated, everything, couldn't find a job.
Oh, man.
So it's like, what's really going on here?
That's heartbreaking because you think about, like, that's supposed to be their chance.
Right.
And if it's not even working, that's...
And it gets kind of worse because then she gets into the criminal justice system, like even there,
Oh, man.
profiting off people's struggles.
You mean like the whole cash bail thing?
Exactly. This guy, Rafiq, Kim talks about, he's stuck in jail, pre-trial, couldn't afford bail. The system is designed to prey on people.
That's just not right. Everyone deserves a fair shot. Shouldn't matter if you can afford it or not.
And even when there are alternatives, right, like house arrest, it's still not that simple.
Because they slap you with all the fees.
Exactly. Electronic monitoring, all this stuff, crazy fees. It's just another way to keep people trapped.
It's like every step of the way there's a handout ready to take more. It makes you really question, like, how much choice do people in poverty actually have?
Oh, that's a huge part of what Kim's arguing, this illusion of choice,
Yeah.
The system's designed to make money, not to actually help them.
And it's not just these big systemic things, right, like we've been talking about, but even something as basic as healthcare is caught up in this whole poverty for profit thing.
Oh, absolutely. Dialysis, big one.
Yeah.
These companies, DaVita, Fresenius, you know them.
Yeah, I've seen them everywhere.
everywhere. But they've come under fire because it's like, are they actually prioritizing patient care or their profits?
That's scary.
Kim talks about how they've been accused of steering patients away from kidney transplants.
What?
Which are more effective long-term,
Yeah.
but less profitable for them because they make more money keeping people on dialysis.
And so they'd rather keep people sick.
It's messed up, and it gets worse. They use their money lobbying to fight against reforms that could help patients.
Of course.
Because it could hurt their bottom line.
It's mind-blowing. It's like healthcare, housing, these basic needs, they're just seen as opportunities for profit.
Right, and it's not always these huge corporations, even with Medicaid,
Oh, right.
Private companies getting involved.
Didn't something happen in Iowa with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Iowa. They were going to privatize their whole Medicaid system.
Yep.
Promised it would save money.
Right.
Costs went up. People were getting denied care left and right.
So much for efficiency.
It's like this myth that private companies can always do it better. Sometimes. It's just about the bottom line.
Yeah, the almighty dollar, right? So, okay, we've covered healthcare, criminal justice, job training, housing. I mean, is there anything left?
Oh, there's more. Don't worry. Food.
Oh, jeez.
Even food. SNAP benefits, school lunches. Big business.
Oh, man. See, this is where it hits home for me. I grew up on free and reduced lunch. Like, that was it.
It's a lifeline for families. But Kim found that billions of dollars in SNAP benefits going straight to these big food corporations.
Like even those dollar stores popping up everywhere.
Exactly. They target low-income neighborhoods, not a lot of other options for groceries, and then school lunches, meant to be healthy, right? But they've become a captive market for these companies.
It's like even trying to feed your kids, someone's making a profit. It's just, I don't even know. It's a lot.
It's overwhelming, But Kim, she doesn't just leave us with this feeling of despair. She talks about solutions. Things we can do. We need to rethink how we address poverty.
Okay, good. Because I need a little hope right now.
Well, one thing she really pushes for is we got to look at the government's role in all this. Like these basic services, can we really rely on private companies, with their profits? It just sets up these messed up priorities.
So less privatization.
Yeah.
More government-run programs. Is that what she's saying?
It's not like a black and white thing, Right. She's not saying get rid of all private companies, but when it's something like healthcare, housing, education, these basic needs, it shouldn't be about profit, right? People got to come first.
It's true. It's easy to get caught up in efficiency, saving money, all that. But these are actual people's lives.
Exactly. And that's why transparency is so huge, knowing where the money's going, who's benefiting, accountability, that's got to be the focus.
Yeah, and this whole thing about personal responsibility, right? Kim goes there too.
Oh yeah, she does not let that go. It's easy to blame people, right? Say it's their fault for being in poverty, but when you look at the system, how much it's stacked against them.
It's like blaming someone for not knowing how to swim when you threw them in the ocean without any lessons, without a life jacket.
Exactly. It's like, what choice did they even have?
Okay, so knowing all this, what can we do? How do we even begin to dismantle this whole poverty for profit machine?
It's tough. Kim doesn't pretend it's easy, but we got to start somewhere, right? Challenge how things are done. We got to be willing to shake things up.
Yeah, even if it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. And I think awareness is huge. Reading this book is a starting point. We got to educate ourselves, talk to people, ask questions, and not just accept things because that's how it's always been done.
Demand better.
Yes, demand better.
This whole deep dive, it's really got me thinking. It's a lot to process,
Yeah.
It's overwhelming, kind of makes me angry, but it also lights a fire. I don't know. I got to do something. This whole idea that someone's profiting off other people's struggles, it's just wrong.
It is wrong, and we can't be silent about it.
Exactly. And that's what's so powerful about Kim's book. She's not just pointing fingers. She's giving us the tools, to actually make a difference.
Yeah, and it starts with seeing each other, remembering the human side of all this data and these policies.
It's about people, real people's lives.
Exactly.
Well, everyone listening, if you take away one thing from this deep dive, let it be this. Kim asks, if poverty is profitable, then who are these programs really helping? Think about that. And thanks for joining us. We'll be back next time with another deep dive.